sheet. I write them down. I call them into my sponsor. I don't eat between meals no matter what. And abstinence is the most important thing in my life. And if you give me like when I have 5 minutes left and 1 minute left, that would be perfect. Um and Anyway, so thank you first of all for allowing me to be here, and thank you for everyone doing service on this meeting, Karen. And I was really happy that Stephanie asked me to speak. Um, just uh, just want to say that she's one of the people that when I started out in Gray Sheet, we became friends on Facebook because you couldn't really see anybody because it was just a phone bridge. And I've always watched and admired you. And so I my abstinence date is 1/3/23, and I started out like lots of people. My childhood, to me, at least in the beginning, didn't seem to me all that bad. But my mother, we lived with my mom and my mother in North Florida, and she was an alcoholic. I didn't know what that was at the time, or nobody had labeled her that. But I had a younger brother, and he was 6, and I was 8, and she would go out and she would leave us alone at night. And I decided I became a codependent right then, because I would try to stay awake at night and watch him, so that nothing would happen to us. Like I was not going to be able to fight off anybody. But so as far as food went, on those nights, and I was a kid, I don't remember much of anything before the time I was 8 years old. So, but anyhow, we would look around for things to eat. And so and I never told anybody in my extended family, because I didn't want to bother them. And so we lived in Tallahassee, and so I had a set of grandparents there. And my dad was living in, I believe he was going to grad school in Tampa. And in my childhood, the only times that I really felt like I was just a kid was when I was with my grandparents. We spent some weekends with them because they had a cottage on an island near Tallahassee, and on the weekends we would just get to be kids. And there was, of course, lots of food associated with that. And so I associated that, of course, with caring and compassion and love. And then my other grandparents lived in Inverness area in Florida, and also had some grandparents in Tennessee. And so especially my Florida grandparents, it was food, anything I wanted when they were around. Then I told my dad what was going on. He remarried, and I was all excited because now I would have a mom. And it was really jumping from the frying pan into the fire. She already had 2 kids, and then they had one together. And then we moved to South Florida because my dad was a biologist, so he got a job with U.S. Sugar. And boy, we moved to the sticks, and that wasn't so bad, except for my stepmother. And I'm like, I don't just, I'm not blaming her. I've come to terms with her. I remember now she was like probably in her early mid-20s, doing the best she could. And she was not a nice person. It was not a fun time. And we were not allowed to just go into the kitchen and get food, whatever we wanted. It was really meal times only. So I became a food thief, and I would steal food when they would not be at home, but always things that I didn't think they would miss. So it was kind of some weird things. I was maybe around that time a little chubby, but I don't think I would be considered fat. But because I had little access to food, I really couldn't be, compulsive eater in earnest. And so I when I was older, like age to babysit, I didn't think of this until someone on a meeting said something about it. I would steal food when I babysat, and not in mass quantities or anything, but I did. But at that time, I was in my early teens and discovered, boys and friends that wanted to drink. So, that was the way I fit in. And also, I'm an extreme introvert. And so alcohol helped in that regard until it didn't. But so as a way to get out of my house, when I was 18, I got pregnant, got married, and I had 3 kids, not in rapid succession, but pretty quick. And with all those, I gained a lot of weight when I was pregnant, and I would find ways to lose it. And whatever it would be, whether it would be not eating or diet pills, which I just loved, I would successfully lose weight. And I really wasn't binge eating so much at the time because and I actually for a long time didn't drink either. And let's see, I was married for 12 years and we got divorced. And after about 5 years, I remarried, and this guy was not a winner either. And so, but I had a child with him. And when he took off, I had my youngest daughter with me, and the other 3 kids is a totally different story, too long to tell, and not food related. I took her and we went to California, and I went out there as a travel nurse because I had become a nurse in the meantime. And I was drinking then, but controlled. And so, of course, when I got out there, it wasn't long after that I met someone because I needed someone, and got married, and realized I was stuck, or I felt like I was. So I started drinking, and I was shoplifting. That was my thing, because I didn't recognize it, but I had a real underlying feeling of deprivation, and like I never got what I deserved, I felt. So I got pretty good at it. Stole a lot of alcohol, a lot of food, and did it for a long time. And in 2004, I got arrested, and that was the most shocking, demoralizing thing that at that point had ever happened to me. And I have a nursing license, and so I had to do everything that court asked me to do, which was see a therapist. And I was honest with her about my drinking, and she sent me to AA. And from my first meeting, I don't know how or why, but I never drank again, and I did everything I was supposed to do, made all my amends and my restitution and such. And I still do, a fabulous sponsor out there. And I then got married again. This time it was a real doozy, and but I don't know how I stayed sober, but I was a binge eater 100%. And the reason I ended up with this person was because I thought that he accepted me how I was, which meant that I could just be who I wanted to be. Anyhow, whatever. That at that point, let me think, was I with him then? No, I don't think so. I went to OA, and no, I was by myself with my daughter. We were living in Palo Alto. And I was looking for, I've tried all the diets. I won't go through it all, every single one. I went to OA, and I wasn't impressed with OA because I looked around and I saw a lot of overweight people like me. And they said you could pick your own food plan. And well, I knew which one I would pick, sit home and eat all the time. So I heard someone talk about GreySheet as a food plan that was part of OA, but the only way you could get it was with a sponsor. So I thought I could go online and find it myself, and actually I didn't find it, but I did find GreySheeters, and I got a sponsor, and I started doing the program, and I did the phone bridge meetings, and I lost
You have
about
5 minutes.
Thank you. I lost about 90 pounds, and I kept it off for, I think, a couple of years. And then someone suggested in my family that I really didn't need to do that anymore. So I decided to do it myself, and I gained a lot of it back. I moved back to Florida, and I got back into Gray Sheet again, and I lost the weight. I had the sponsor I had when I was in Florida was such a really sweet, fun person, but I was allowed to text, and nobody was really like giving me like, this is what you need to do. No, it's nobody else's fault but mine, but I wanted the easier, softer way. So eventually I moved in with my son and his wife, and quit weighing and measuring. And so in January of this year, I was, totally at the bottom. I was not happy in my living situation. It was a terrible decision to make. I had left a very nice by myself situation to move in with them. And, I didn't know what else to do. And because I tried, what do you call it? Intuitive eating, fat acceptance, all this stuff. And it was just not, I just couldn't do it. So anyhow, I emailed Gray Sheet, because it was like, unfortunately and embarrassingly, the last thing on my mind. And I got a response right away, and a sponsor who agreed to temporarily sponsor me sent me a packet of stuff she called relapse prevention. And she said, look it over and let me know if you're willing to do that. And I did. And I said I would. And she said, really? And I said, yes, I'll do anything. So from that point, every single day, I have done those steps. And if you read the GreyNet, you know what I do. And speaking of the GreyNet, I looked back on all my GreyNet posts from the past, because I wanted to see, like, where did I go wrong in my abstinence. And I noticed that my focus in my post was mostly on weight loss. And that wasn't really a conscious thing, but then thinking back, I know all I ever wanted was just to be a normal size. And so now, I mean, actually from day one this time, I don't think about my weight. I mean, when I weigh myself, I do. Of course, if I don't, I think about it a little bit that day, but then it's just another day, and it's not about weight loss. Weight loss will come. It's just about stopping the compulsive eating. And I think the difference this time is um, I believe that I was able to do a real clean first step, not consciously, but I had finally come to the understanding that no matter what I did, no matter how long I live, what I try, do, whatever, I am never going to be able to eat like a normal person. And for me, the only answer is Gray Sheet. And, I'm so grateful that Gray Sheet exists and that I found it, because I did try it, like OA How and things like that. But there's the grains and all that. I just can't. As long as I'm abstinent, I weigh and measure. I do what I need to do every day to protect my abstinence, which is to be active in the program every day, to attend meetings, make my calls, post and communicate with people, read and pray and meditate, all those things. I listen to Gray Sheet YouTube qualifications, and I don't miss it.
Abstinent.
Thank you. I don't miss it any day. And I also work to give back to the program, because if we're not here, people who need us won't find us. And people have given so much to me for free that I want to, and I want to say I have a purpose now. It's not just to be useful to my family. I I feel like I'm helping others, and that's a really good feeling. And, you know, I try to stay grateful every single day for this gift that I have. And I guess that's pretty much it. And I don't eat no matter what. Thank you for asking me to qualify.